you cannot route these guys this way. They have to be routed back around this way. One thing to note is righty tighty lefty loosey, right? So this is lefty loosey. So if you're tugging on this, all right, so here I am underneath the car with the wiring harness next to me. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this. So the blue wire is going to be the power signal wire for your fuel pump, and the purple wire will be your fuel level sensor. So if you come underneath the car, if you remember, if you're like me, you broke this one and you managed to unplug this one. This is the guy that you're going to want to focus on. So you have, when you pull the wires out of the balloon here, you're going to have four wires. You're going to have a gray, I know it looks white, but it's gray, a purple, and two black wires. The two wires you're worried about are these two, the gray and the purple. The purple is going to go to both purple wires on the wiring harness, and the gray is going to go to both blue wires on the wiring harness. So you want to make sure you terminate these wires wherever you see fit, and make sure that you're able to wire it up and seat it correctly before putting this tank back up here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now, and hopefully I can put this tank back in, wrap things up. I'm really not looking forward to getting those fuel lines out. Hopefully I can fish them out without cutting them, but I don't think that's going to be the case, but we'll see. Now that I got the tank situated under, I got the wires off to the side. Here is the next task that you have to contend with when doing this. So the fuel line here has to be disconnected. You're going to want to use one of these fuel line tools. Push it in. Sometimes you might have to kind of like spin it to get the fuel line off, but it does come off fairly easy. Just be careful because gas will spill out of the fuel line, obviously, as well as the other side. So just make sure you're working in a vented area. Then there's the vent line, which comes off fairly easy. Just press the two gray tabs on it and pull it, and that'll be fairly simple. The harder part, if you're like me and you, well, not like me, this is how you should do it, is you should always secure the fuel lines. If you look all the way back there, I don't know if you can even see it, but the fuel line, if you follow it, right there is secured to I believe it's one of the bolts for the transmission, if I'm not mistaken. So to get the fuel lines out, I gotta declutter this vacuum mess here to try to get my hand back there, get a socket, and undo that bolt. Hopefully I have enough leverage so I can get the lines to pop off that bracket and then kind of fish them out. The other side, underneath, you'll see that the lines are also being held up by like a clip. That clip is actually bolted to the tail part of the transmission. So if you put that back as well, you can either take off that bracket, or you have just enough room to kind of pull that tab down, pop the lines out, and get them next to the bracket, and then potentially reuse that bracket for the new fuel lines. Again, for something as critical as fuel lines, you don't want to just leave them sitting around. There's some moving components down there, right? You got your drive shaft, but you also have heat down there, so you may want to make sure that as you fish the fuel lines through, you have adequate mounting points for the fuel lines, because there's one thing you don't want to damage during driving is the fuel line for several reasons. Just pay attention to how you route them. So my plan is, I'll pull these lines out, route the AN lines up here. I did get my fuel rails and my fuel pressure regulator here, so we're gonna have to figure out where exactly I'm gonna mount that. This vacuum block may change. I may change the orientation of it, kind of it facing downwards, and then come back up this way with everything. Or I may mount the fuel pressure regulator somewhere else. I have to kind of look at it, because it does come, if you look here, I don't really know what this part is here, but this looks like some kind of mounting bracket. I don't know. I didn't see it anywhere in the instructions, so maybe I'll try to eyeball and see if I can get this to... Yeah, I don't know what this is for. I'll see if I can get this to fit on somewhere. It might actually work with one of the fuel pressure regulators. If not, I'll figure something out and make sure it looks halfway decent. Okay, so I have the fuel lines somewhat plumbed just to get them out of the way. I got the wiring up here plugged in, tucked on the other side of the frame rail. I want to show you guys something, some misinformation that I provided to you guys earlier. So the fuel lines that I wanted to run, I don't know that my plan will work, because there's a little bit of collapsing that they have to do to get over or under, or whatever you want to say, this guy here. It looks like I may have to come all the way around this way to avoid this guy here, but we'll see. So I'll keep you guys posted on what this looks like here shortly. I'll find out what the best way of plumbing these fuel lines are. It sucks because there's actually a fuel line holder over there and like a little ledge that you can just feed the fuel lines out and just straight shot over there. Coming around, you waste a little more fuel line, and I don't know how much extra I have over there. I do have extra that I ordered, but if you didn't and you're just relying on this kit, it may be a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and play around with this a little bit and let you guys know what I come up with. Okay, so I think I found a way around the fuel lines. They have to run on the right side of the tank. The other thing I also found out was you cannot route these guys this way. They have to be routed back around this way, because they hit that part right there. So before you go jamming in your gas tank, just be careful. Listen for, you'll hear like ripples, and you'll know you're not clearing it at that point in time. Obviously not worth risking breaking a fuel line or a fitting. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and tighten these, just flip them this way and route, and hopefully that is the last of the issues that I have with fitting this. I was really hoping to keep the fuel lines on that side, but it is what it is. Can't physically make it fit unless I cut into that, which you definitely don't want to do that. So we'll go ahead and flip these around, throw the tank up, and see what it looks like. I found out that just flipping them over didn't have enough clearance. So I'm going to go ahead and do, which I should have done probably in the first place. I guess just flipping them over was going to be the easiest thing, but pull the tank back out. I'm going to undo these guys, move around, and kind of position them so they come out that way. This one will I'll probably move it this way, and I'll probably go that way because I gotta account for the plug. So I'm gonna take this out. This actually came out kind of easy, so I'm gonna see if I can put some of this thread sealer that I have that's made specifically for this type of application, because I really don't want that to come apart on me anytime in the future. This is a pain in the ass to take this thing back out. So I'm
Gonna go ahead and do that and throw the tank back up, hopefully for the last time. So here's what I finally settled on. I have the return line wrapping around further out than the supply line, and then the supply line is far away from the connector, because you got to come and, you know, you got to come square on and connect it. One thing to note is righty tighty lefty loosey, right? So this is lefty loosey, so if you're tugging on this, there's a potential that this comes out, or this starts to get loose. That's actually what happened here. I was kind of messing around with this, trying to position it when I had it up in the car, and this just came loose by me moving the line around. Now I checked these. Yeah, I checked these when I was mounting the entire top head on, and you know, I checked them with my hand, and they were tight enough, so I was like, okay, well, maybe, you know, they're torqued down. But this guy was super torqued down. This one was like a shibby. This one was torqued down enough where I didn't catch it till I actually was playing around with this line, which is good. That would have been a giant nightmare to try to figure out. Well, maybe not. It probably just would have been spewing out gas everywhere. But I bring all that up to show you this. When you mount the fuel lines, you then mount them with some pressure coming back, so you're always kind of pushing back a little bit, so you're not kind of tugging away and loosening these guys up. Now this guy's not a problem because he's kind of resting over here, so you're not going to be pulling on this. This guy is. So if you're yanking on this line as you're trying to get your inline filter hooked up and moving around, you know, it does put pressure on that. So what I plan on doing is I'm probably going to, I don't know, the way I mount these lines, I'm probably going to mount them and have a little bit of slack here to always kind of keep some back pressure on them. And I'm also thinking about maybe just like throwing a zip tie on here and just kind of zip tying this, and just so it's pulling it back this way to this or something. I don't know, maybe it's a little too much. Maybe I'll just leave it like that and just put some tension on the line. I mean, I torque these things down and put some special thread lock on there, so it should hold. All right, time to get this thing back in the car.